1 minute, everything is flowing like a subtle stream. The next, a whirl. The chaos and uncertainty take us honestly. This is the nature of growth, a series of unexpected events that force us to face things we were never prepared for. But amid these storms, is there a way to keep our mind under control? Is there a way to teach ourselves to stay calm, no matter what happens around us? The answer is yes. Calmness is not distant or exclusive to sages or extraordinary beings. It is a habit, a skill that can be built. And this all starts with controlling our own minds. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind. Not outside events realize this, and you will find strength. Stoicism tells us that tranquility does not come from controlling the world outside of us, but rather from controlling our own response to it. In this journey, we will look into practical ways to train our mind to keep calm, even when everything is chaotic. Because in the end, life is not about dodging curveballs, but about learning the art of embracing them. One, control your mind, or let it control you. Has your mind ever seemed like an enemy? Have you ever had the feeling that your own mind is working against you? Unwanted thoughts invade your head, and negative emotions explode beyond control. And then you act in a way you would later regret. This is not so uncommon. The human is a complex entity that can easily be overstimulated by immediate emotions like anxiety, fear, anger, or disappointment. But the crucial question is, do you control your mind, or does it control you? Imagine for a moment you are at a party, enjoying a peaceful and pleasant evening. You're having a good conversation with a few friends when suddenly one says something negative about you in front of everyone. A sharp comment, an unintentional or deliberate insult. If your mind is untrained, what happens? A wave of offense rises instantly. Your heartbeat picks up and your self-esteem hits the floor. You feel an impulse to react immediately, to retaliate, defend yourself, or even get out of the party in anger. But wait, is that truly you? Or this is just an impulsive response from your mind when hurt? Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "We are not affected by things in our life, but by how we judge them." His words serve as a wake-up call. It is how we interpret events that determine our emotions, not the event itself. If you perceive that negative remark as an insult, you will feel hurt. If you see it as another subjective opinion, it will pass without a trace in your mind. Stoicism does not teach to block our emotions, but rather to control them. Control does not mean forcing yourself not to feel hurt or pain, but instead, not to allow emotions to control your actions. When facing negativity, a Stoic practitioner pauses and observes his internal reactions as a spectator. They recognize the rising anger. They acknowledge the hurt, but do not act on it. Let's go back to our party scenario. Instead of let anger take control, you can choose a different response. You take a deep breath. You pause before acting. You look straight in the eyes of the person who negative commented, not with a challenging glare, but also with calmness. Their words have no power over your value unless you give it to them. You can respond softly or even just smile and be done with it, because you already know it is your reaction matrix, not someone else's words that matter. This method not only allows you to avoid negative consequences from impulsive reactions, but also helps to make others reflect their actions. When someone provokes you, but does not receive the anticipated response, they become more upset than you. They expect anger and resistance to obtain composed assertion. Instead, silence. That is the power of mastering your own mind. Training your mind into Stoicism is not an easy style journey, and it takes continuous practice, starting from small situations in our daily lives. When you encounter a reckless driver on the road, you can react with frustration, or you can remind yourself that you cannot control them, only your own reactions. When someone does something hurtful, you can let negative emotions take over, or you can remind yourself that their words do not define you. Controlling your mind does not mean becoming emotionless. On the contrary, It allows you to free yourself from the burdens of impulsive reactions. It gives you the power to choose how you feel, how you respond, and how you live. Because in the end, if you do not control your mind, it will surely control you. 2. Anger solves nothing. Anger is a natural response. But when we give this emotion control, we lose our ability and capacity to think clearly, react wisely in those moments. It may seem like we are regaining control by yelling, resisting, or taking out our anger. Nothing in reality. Anger rarely helps solve problems. It only adds fuel to the fire. Imagine you are driving one morning down a busy highway. You are at a steady pace when suddenly another car cuts you off. The heart races, and you feel a surge of anger rising instantly. A sense of injustice and offense fills your mind. If you don't control, it might be that you slam the gas to chase the car, honk loudly, or even shout at the inside of the car. Nobody can hear you. But take a moment and ask yourself, will this reaction improve the situation if you let rage consume you? What is the best that could happen? You could cause an accident, getting yourself into a dangerous confrontation. Or even worse, lose calmness that you should have carried according to Stoicism. We cannot control others, but we absolutely can control our own reactions. Epicus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. That matters." This is the key to managing anger when someone does something that you dislike. React immediately. Pause, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this really worth losing my peace over? If the answer is no, then the anger is not worth your energy. Anger is not the enemy. It is a signal. It tells you that something is wrong, that we have been hurt, disrespected, or treated unfairly. But instead of using it as an excuse to explode, we should treat it as a reminder to identify what is the real issue when someone hurts you. Did you really need to lash out immediately, or should you be reflecting why? What did the harm you in the first place when facing opposition does? Yelling change the situation? Or can you find a smart way to protect yourself, no matter how unreasonable people can be? When the world is crazy, you have the power to control how you react. Someone tries to offend you, but you are in control of not letting this affect your inner peace. There is a common misconception that staying silent or not reacting is a way of weakness. In reality, the opposite is true. Controlling your anger requires immense control and inner mastery. The one who loses their temper first is usually the one who has the least control. On the other hand, the one who can stand in the middle of the storm, witnessing without being swept away, is the strongest. And this brings us to a deeper truth. Calmness is not weakness. It is strength. But why strong calmness is in peril? Silence is a more powerful weapon than words, and the answer will reflect on you. And that is exactly what we will explore next. 3. Calmness is not weakness, it's strength. There is an assumption in society that the loud, or those who are physically strong or ready to confront others, are the ones who they have the real power in meetings. The loudest speaker is perceived as the one who has more influence in arguments. The angriest person looks as the winner. But if you look deeper, you will see a different reality. True strength lies in self-control. Not outbursts. The one who can remain calm even in the worst situations is not only strong, but master of himself. When someone raises their voice at you, your instinct is to respond. You may feeling threatened, insulted, and want to immediately react. But ask yourself, does that reaction help you win? In most cases, will only put you at a disadvantage and turns you into a puppet of emotions. The other person's anger controls you, making you lost clarity, and takes the conversation into an endless confrontation. A truly strong person understands that calmness is not passivity or surrender, but most deliberate strategy. Maintaining composure means you do not allow them to personally manipulate your emotions, to let external circumstances dictate your inner state. This is the calmness that gives you the most power, the ability to control yourself. Imagine you are in an important meeting in the room. A colleague, either dissatisfied or just want to overpower you, abruptly refutes your opinion in a tough tone. The whole room falls silence, and all eyes turn to you, expecting how you will react this moment. You have two choices. First, retaliate immediately, defending your opinion with the same hard tone, turning the meeting into a personal fight. Second, please the ogres, remaining calm. Observe. The ogres are actions holding back your breath and responding in a composed tone. If you take the first option, the meeting will likely become more tense, and everyone gets into conflict instead of seeking solutions. But second choice, you will earn the respect of the entire room. Your calmness not only neutralizes the attack, but it will be also more convincing and rational. Mahatma Gandhi is the most vivid example of the power of calmness and persistence. When facing the harsh rule of the British Empire, instead of violence, he followed the principles of Ahimsa, non-violence, and satyagraha, insistence on truth. Under his leadership, millions of Indians participated in peaceful protests, marches, and civil disobedience. One of the most remarkable events that happened was 1930, when Gandhi led a group of people on a 380-kilometer walk to protest British salt tax unarmed. They did not incite violence, they just walked. But this seemingly weak action literally shook the very foundation of the British Empire opposing them. Responding to violence was his followers remained in peace, earning their admiration worldwide. He demonstrated that real power does not sit in brute force, but in the ability to control yourself and stand firm in righteousness. The truth is that those who lose their temper easily are not as strong as they think. Those who shout, threaten, or overreact are really showing a treasure. Their weakness, a lack of self-control. They cannot master their own emotions, so they want to dominate others through aggression. But if you do not react as they expect, they lose their advantage. When you control your reactions, you not only disarm your opponent, but also affirm something very important. You are the one in charge of the situation, not them. Remaining calm in difficult situations is not only a skill, it is a reflection of dignity that shows that you will not allow yourself to get carried away by negative emotions or let anyone else control your mood. A truly strong person does not need to shout to be recognized, does not need to assert the power through aggression. They understand that the greatest strength is in self-control, and when you master yourself, no one can manipulate you. True strength does not arise from outside. It arises from within you. And when you control yourself, you already won. Even before the fight begins, for life is unfair, and it does not matter. Maybe you felt this way before you work hard, pour your life into the project. But the one who gets a promotion is a colleague who put in less effort than you, or you are always nice to others, and they betray your trust. Injustice is part of life, and if we let it touches us, we will forever be in a repetition of anger and disappointment. So Stoicism brings the revolution. You cannot change the life to your liking, but you can change how you react to it. Instead of suffering for things beyond your control, focus on what you can master yourself. If you truly understand this, you will stop seeing unfairness as a burden in life, but as an objective reality. Just like rain or the sun, you cannot change this, but you can choose what to do next. Imagine waking and realizing that you have no arms or legs. What would you do? Would you give up, or would you keep pushing forward? Nick Vujicic does not need to imagine that, because this is his reality, born with a rare condition called tetra amelia syndrome. He does not have limbs, something that many people would consider an ultimate disaster. Nick struggles growing up with insecurity, sadness, depression, and helplessness. At one point wanted to end his life, but then he realized a profound truth. If he could not change his fate, he would change the way he faced it. From being unable to take care of himself, he learned to brush his, write, swim, or even play soccer. With his small torso, he not only learns to live independently, but also became a motivational speaker, impacting the lives of millions around the planet. Nick has no arms, no legs, but he has one thing that many able people lack: an unconquerable spirit. He is living proof of the Stoic philosophy. We cannot control out conditions, but we can always control how we respond. This is the essence of the Stoic life. We cannot change reality, but we can decide how we react to it. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. You can curse the sky for the wind and poor weather, or you can find shelter and use the time to reflect and grow. A person who lives in resentment will always be a victim of their own circumstances. A person who understands Stoicism will not allow external factors to defeat them. So how can we apply this mindset in our life? Remember, each time you feel wronged, ask yourself, will getting angry or complaining change the situation? If the answer is no, then you are wasting your time and energy on something that is meaningless. Instead, focus on what you can control, improving your skills, mastering your emotions, and keep moving forward. The reality is that life is not always fair, but it doesn't matter. What matters is how you respond. You will let injustice to destroy you, or you will use it to become stronger. Before we go on, can I ask you a small favor? If you're enjoying what you've learned so far, and you're smiling right now, please hit the like button, and hey, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Why? Because when you like and subscribe, you're telling YouTube, hey, this content is great, and that helps spread this positive energy to more people who might need a little lift just like you. So let's share the joy and make sure more people can join this journey of self-improvement and positivity with us. Now, think about a recent situation where you lost control. Maybe someone insulted you, or a bad day made you explode in anger. Do you think you really lost control, or was that a choice? Let's explore this in the next section 5. Losing control is a choice. Mostly we think that our emotions are dictated by external events, how others treat us, situations that we did not expect. But if you look carefully, you will notice that we do not lose control because of others. We lose control simply because we choose to imagine a similar situation. You are standing in line at a supermarket. In line, someone blatantly skips. You feel a rise of anger. All of a sudden your heart races and your hands clench. A part of you wants to complain immediately, but then you remember an important principle of Stoicism. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your own response. You have two choices: allow anger to take control of you, or remain calm and act with dignity. Epicurus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "Remember, it is not enough to be hit or insulted to be harmed. You must believe that you are being harmed." This statement reveals a harsh but powerful truth. Nobody can make you lose control unless you allow them to. When someone insults you, if you get angry, it means you have already handed control of your emotions to them. If an unexpected situation makes you angry, it means you let it control your mind. Think about someone you admire. Could be a former teacher, a respected boss, or a friend who remains calm in every situation. Have you ever wondered why they do not lose their temper easily? What is allowing them to smile even in the face of criticism? It's not because they never feel anger or disappointment, but because they understand an essential principle. Losing control is a choice, and they choose not to lose it. There is a thought-provoking story. One day on a crowded train during rush hour, a young man accidentally stepped on an old man's foot. The young man immediately apologized, but the old man simply nodded, continued reading his book, and said nothing. Another passenger witnessed this and asked curiously, "Why aren't you upset? If it were me, I would have scolded him." The old man just smiled and said he didn't do it on purpose, and I don't want to waste my time being angry. My anger won't ease the pain in my foot. It would only burden my mind. What can we learn from this? Most people believe that they must react when facing an unwanted event. The anger, frustration, or anxiety is something that happens automatically. But in reality, emotions are simply a product of how we interpret events. One person might see skipping the line as a disrespectful act and get furious. Another may see it as a simple test of patience. One person might take criticism as a personal insult, while another might see it as a chance to learn. So how can we train our minds to avoid losing control? First, recognize that you always have a choice when a negative emotion appears. Pause and ask yourself, will my reaction be helpful? If the answer is no, why waste energy on it? Remember, Silence is sometimes more powerful than any rebuttal. A calm attitude can unsettle more than a dozen argumentative words. Second, practice controlling your thoughts. When you notice your mind catching into a cycle of anger or anxiety, remind yourself, I cannot control others, but I can control myself. This does not mean that you have to tolerate or accept all wrongdoing, but that you learn to respond wisely instead of being led by emotion. Lastly, remember that true strength lies not in the ability to react fiercely, but to maintain absolute calmness, even when everything around you is chaotic. When you master the art of inner peace, nothing can shake you. And that is one of the core principles of Stoicism. You cannot control the world, but you can control how you perceive it. Losing control or not is always your choice. 6. Don't get stuck in the past or the future. Have you ever felt regret over a lost opportunity or worried over things that haven't occurred yet? Have you ever found yourself trapped between two unchangeable realities, the past that is gone and the future that has not come? This is how many people live, or more accurately, how many people exist. But if you want to learn how to keep your mind calm in any situation, first, you must learn how to break away from this vicious cycle. One of the most important lessons of Stoicism is to live in the present, because that is the only thing you control. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said, "Remember that man lives only in the present. In this fleeting instant, all the rest of his life is either past and gone, or not yet revealed." This quote is not just abstract philosophy, but a practical reminder. We pain ourselves with unchangeable memories or uncertain future scenarios. But when we do this, we lose the one moment we actually have control over the present. When the mind is stuck in the past, we cannot change anything. When the mind is lost in the future, we only create more stress. But when we focus on the present, we have the power to act, to change. We control ourselves. How can we train this ability? The key lies in the practice of mindfulness, a technique that Stoic philosophers have practiced for thousands of years. It does not require you to meditate for hours or disconnect from the real world. It simply requires a conscious focus on the present, a clear awareness of your breath, of the sensations on your body and around you. Every time your mind wanders to the past or the future, gently bring it back to the present. There is a thought-provoking story about tennis champion Novak Djokovic. He once admitted that in the past, he used to obsess over past losses or fear over the outcome of the next match. These thoughts prevented him from focusing and controlling himself in crucial moments. However, everything changed when Djokovic learned to live in each serve of the match. Instead of spending time thinking about past mistakes or worrying about what hasn't happened yet, he learned to completely focus on the present moment as he started to shift his mindset. Losses no longer haunted him. Every serve, every shot became an opportunity to demonstrate calmness and decisiveness. It was this emotional control and focus on the details that helped him not only overcome challenges in each match, but also surpass even the toughest opponents. Djokovic's journey shows that success is not only about technical ability, but about the ability to control our mind and focus on what is happening now. This does not only apply to sports, but everything in life. If you let the past and the future control you, you will never truly live. But if you focus on the present, you will find peace, strength, and the ability to make better decisions. So what about you? Do you often get stuck in old memories or worry about the future? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 7. Life is chaotic, but calmness lies inside you. Life is a series of unpredictable events. You may awake ready for a lovely day, yet in a couple of minutes everything can drastically change. An unexpected message, a heated argument. Bad news. Chaos is the nature of this world. But there is one thing you can always control: your mind and your reactions. Have you ever realized that your calmness amid turmoil is your greatest strength? When everything around you becomes tense, when people easily get caught in panic, the one who can maintain their mind still is the true winner. You don't have control over the outside world, but you have completely control of how you respond. Act when you truly understand this. You will find strength. Silence is not weakness or cowardice. It is the form of the greatest power, the power of someone who can control themselves in any condition. Imagine you are driving on a busy road. Another driver suddenly cuts in front of you, making you jam on the brakes. You could get mad, shout evasive, and use harsh words. But ask yourself, will that reaction make the situation better? Will it make you feel better? Or will that only make you more stressed? Now imagine that in the same situation, you take a deep breath. You realize that anger won't help you choose to keep driving calmly, focusing on your journey instead of letting your anger take control. Not only you remain calm, and when you do that, you avoid to do impulsive decisions, which make a worst scenario in life. These moment happens every day. Someone says something offensive to you and project gets cancelled last minute. Someone betrays your trust. But no matter what the situation is, the important thing is not what happened, but how you respond when you unleash your emotions, unfiltered. You are giving power to external events. But when you stay calm, you take control of your own life. When someone is angry, they wish for you to be angry too. When someone is anxious, they expect you to panic with them. However, if you can maintain your calm, you refuse to make yourself a victim of their reactions. Calmness is not indifference or avoidance. It is the ability to self-regulate so that you do not get pulled into the negative spiral they are trying to create. You can learn to control your calmness through daily situations. Take a simple example, a family fight. Someone says something that you want to respond immediately. Your heartbeat is fast, your body tenses, your mind races away with comebacks. Yet instead of saying the first words that come to mind, you choose to pause for a second. Realize that silence can sometimes be the strongest form of response. When you do not react the way others expect, you will have to face up to them. They will realize their mistake, or at the least, they will not drag you into their storm, causing negative reactions. True, victory is not in who gets the last word, but who controls themselves better. There will be times when life challenges you with unavoidable complications, but remember, circumstances don't define you, only how you respond. There is great power in silence. It is not weakness, but the ultimate expression of inner strength. When you learn to remain calm in any situation, you not only control your reactions, but you also control your destiny. So when the storms of life come, will you let them sweep you away? Or will you stand firm in the silence of strength, and that trust lies within you? 8. Don't let circumstances define you. Life is a continuous flow of events. Some of us were born in adversity, grew up in hardship, and faced challenges that seem impossible in those moments. Always, one question echoes in our minds. Can we change our destiny? Stoicism has an answer. Is clear: circumstances do not define you. Only your reaction to them does. Imagine a boy born into a poor family from a young age. He hears hushed voices who say this boy will never go far. How can someone born into such condition change his existence? Society sees him with pity, as if his fate was sealed at first. He believes those words. He thinks that poverty is a sentence, that he should never dream of anything beyond what he has. But then one day he realizes something. Circumstances are just a temporary background, not an everlasting identity. If he continues to accept what others impose on him, if he allows circumstances to define him, he himself will be their limit, and he starts to change little by little. He learns, he trains, he tries hard, seeks opportunities, and moves forward persistently. Stoicism teaches us that what happens to us is not the important content, but how we react that matters. Epictetus, one of the masters of Stoic philosophers, said, "What happens to you is not what truly matters, but how you respond to it." His quote captures the essence of the philosophy that should guide us in hard times. It's not what you go through that defines you. It is your attitude towards experiences. What makes you stronger when facing a challenge? You can either let circumstances define who you are, or define yourself through how you respond. Those who let circumstances own them will feel helpless, blame fate, and abandon the idea of changing reality. But those who understand the spirit of Stoicism will take a different approach. He will accept reality, but will not allow it to reduce his thoughts, and will search for solutions instead of complaints. Returning to the story, the poor boy. What made him change was not a miracle, but a new mindset. I am not my circumstances. I can become anyone if I want. He understood that the limits that others set upon him will only have power if he accepts them. And finally, he overcomes all barriers, becomes successful. A way of his own, you may find yourself in an undesirable situation. Maybe you were born into hardships, or you have problems that appear overwhelming. But please keep in mind that you are not defined by what you go through. Facing adversity slowly, without allowing the circumstances to shake your faith in yourself, is the essence of a Stoic mindset. When someone tries to label you, when the world wishes to make you believe that you cannot grow, stay cool, face the truth. And remind yourself, I'm not limited by circumstances. I can change my path. And when you take your cool into any circumstance, when you know that true strength is how you respond to the world, nothing can shake you. Calmness is not a natural reaction, but a skill to develop. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius Seneca and Epicurus emphasize that it is our thinking, not our circumstances, that determines inner peace. When you learn to control how you respond, you not only master your emotions, but you also control how the world affects you. Powerful silence, a calm attitude, and the ability to stand firm is the manifestations of the disciplined mind. So, what about you in your daily life? Have you ever applied Stoic calmness? Are there situations when you find it hard to control your emotions? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspective if you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, share it with those who might need it, and subscribe so you won't miss the next content on Stoicism. There is plenty more profound lessons waiting for you in the videos. Besides this one, keep exploring. See you in the next video.